What's up, everybody? I know it's been a while since I pretty much been on here. I have been going pretty hard for the Lord all the time and just dealing with everyday life stuff. And today I want to share a vision or a dream, however you want to call it. And it happened to me about last year. And I've shared it with some people, and I want to share it on video. And don't really know too much what to say about it. Just hope that you get something from it. I'm going to title it Invitation to Hell and Offer the Position. And I know that sounds crazy. It really does. But it happened to me. I'm going to go ahead and start. It was just a regular day. You know, I was doing my devotions, different things like that, where I work at. And not many people know where I work at. It's around a lot of dangerous people. So that should tell you something right there. And I do devotions there. I do speaking engagements. I do my music there. And I really have taught some things up there through the word. And they know me. I'm going to tell it like it is pretty much. Hey, love everybody, but the word got to go forward. No matter how you get offended or hurt or however it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and start, like I said. It was like a regular day. And like I said, I did my devotions. I was reading, everything like that, so I can be full of the word before I go to sleep, put on my armor, everything like that. So, you know, I laid down in the bed. So as I laid down, I ain't thinking much of it. And I fell asleep really fast for some reason. And as I fell asleep, I turned over to my right side and I see this Tales from the Crypt looking creature, thing. And it said, hey, I need you to eat this because I got something to show you. And I looked at the spoon and it looked like dark beans, like real black beans on it. And then I was like, man, what the heck is this? So I'm like, man, heck no, I ain't finna eat that. So my daughter, my youngest daughter, she got up and she came to my room and and woke me up. So when she woke me up, I went and got her, put her back in the bed, and I prayed with her. So that way she go to sleep because she asked me to do it. So I do pray with my kids, and I did that. So I come back to bed and, everybody's sleeping in the house. I ain't think much of it. So I was like, okay, I should be done with, this thing asking me something crazy, So I sit up there and I'm like, okay, got it. So I go back to sleep. So I fall asleep fast. So as I fall asleep fast, I'm right back at the same place. And the Tales from the Crypt looking creature, demon, or whatever, came and said, I told you we got something to show you. And got something you need to see. So I'm looking at the spoon and it's like same spoon, but then it add a piece of like meat, like flesh to it. And I'm like, man, I told you I ain't eating that, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't with that. I told you that. So he's like, man, I told you we got something to show you. And I'm like, man, you know what? I'll humor you or whatever. So I ate it. And as I ate it, all of a sudden, I'm like up in the air. It's like pitch black. Sky's black. And as I'm looking down, it's like a whole bunch of trees. It's like you in a forest, like a pitch black forest. So I look and all of a sudden I'm diving into the bushes, into like the trees, the forest or whatever. And as I'm diving, the trees spread apart. So as I, diving in, all of a sudden, I'm sitting at a table. I'm sitting at the end of a table. Like, you know how back in the day, when they had the castles and stuff, or freaking Coming to America, he sitting on one side of the table and it's a long freaking table, and Hakeem sitting on the other side, like long table like that. So I'm sitting there at the table and I'm like, man, what the heck is this? I'm looking around, and the room that I'm sitting in, I could tell that it wasn't an ordinary room. So sitting there and I'm looking around at this long table, and to the right side of me there's this big window, and out the window there's a bunch of potholes, and it's like filled with like lava. And I'm like, man, what the heck is this? So the room is like a reddish, mud type color. And I look around and I see at the end of the table, I see this Megamind looking character or whatever, but it like smaller head, cape on and stuff like that. And so as I'm down there and I know I'm in the spirit, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, what is this? So immediately the answers come to my mind. And it said that you're sitting at the end of the table of the 72 demons that run hell. And I'm like, dang, that's crazy. And as I'm looking down the table, I see a demon with an elephant head with anime type eyes. And to the left of me, I see a fish with dog legs. And then I end up seeing like a tiger or lion. I think it's more like a tiger, but the feet were like it had like claws on the bottom, like 3 claws on each hoof, and the tail was a scorpion tail. And so I'm looking around and I look to my right again, and by the time I look to my right, I see this demon. And I've seen this demon before. It came to me before, a while back when I had gotten in a car accident, and I was sitting at home, and I was just laid up, and I was like, okay, Lord, just got down to thinking about everything in my life, and I was like, okay, Lord, where am I gonna be? Am I gonna be with you or what? And the Lord immediately gave me my answer. He's like, Mark, you going to hell? And I was like, hold up. That's the wrong place. That's the wrong temperatures. I ain't did that. So got to talking, and I was like, Lord, I done a lot. I was ordained a prophet at 14. And I'm like, okay, Lord, why I'm doing that. He said, why you doing it, how you living your life and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I own up to all my stuff. I ain't trying to hide it or nothing like that. And I was like, okay, Lord, got it. So as I'm talking, I see the same demon that I'm being approached with in the vision. And the demon, didn't have eyes, had like a third like jaw, like a second jaw. And he was like, while I was sitting on the couch after my accident, he was like, Mark, what I'm saying, I can't wait to torture you, stuff like that. And I was like, man, I said, shut up, man. What I'm saying? Jesus is talking, what I'm saying? I'm talking to him. I ain't talking to you. So you need to calm all that down. I ain't trying to hear nothing you got to say. So, going on from there, I said, okay, Lord, what I'm saying? I know what I need to do, stuff like that. What I'm saying? You gave me a gift to do music and rap music and stuff like that. And, I was like, yeah, I got to start using my talent for him, because that's where I got it from. So coming back to the vision, that same demon pull up on the right side of me, and I'm like, man, what I'm saying, where did you come from? He's like, Mark, we've been watching you, and I just want to let you know that you're a great adversary. So in my mind, I'm like, what is he, getting at? So in my spirit, I felt that he was going to say it 3 times. So, because the whole thought of, death coming threes, stuff like that came in my mind. So it gave me the unction of saying that he was going to say it 3 times. So he told me that the first time. He said, we've been watching you. Well, I've been watching you, and you're a great adversary. And then I was like, okay. But I said, man, you tried to torture me, man. I ain't trying to fool with you. So I turned and I looked, and like right after that, I looked to the left of me, like right behind me real quick. And I seen a white light, and I seen like the angel, like part of my personal angel. He was ripped up, electricity flowing all over him because he was heated, you know what I'm saying, ready for battle or whatever, and wearing white. So I'm like, dang, you know what I'm saying? I said, shoot, that's what's up, and then off to the further side, just a little ways back, even brighter light. And I was like, okay, that gotta be God right there. Gotta be Jesus, you know what I'm saying? So, and then as soon as I turned back to the right, he come up on me quick, and he's like, oh, I see you brought that righteous man with you. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, man, he gonna be with me everywhere I go. So what's wrong with you? I ain't going nowhere without him. I said, I'm like, you crazy. So from there, sitting at the table, and the elephant head, the demon with the elephant head with the anime eyes, tilt his head, and I could hear his thoughts. Like, um, do y'all think he really could lead us? And I'm like, man, what is he talking about? So I look to my left, and I see the fish with dog legs moving, coming towards me on my left side. And I'm sitting at the edge of the table, and I see all the other outline of the demons that sit there. But I could see, I guess that's Satan on the other end, dressed up at the very end of the table, like I'm sitting on the other end of the table. So the fish with dog legs come up to me, and he's like, yeah, Mark, you know what I'm saying? Talking lingo, everything. He's like, yeah, man, I'm telling you, shoot, I do my job. I'm finna get everybody. And I'm talking about from small kids all the way to old adults. You know what I'm saying? If they in lust, they in fornication, they living together, ain't married, you know what I'm saying? They, touching themselves, they doing anything, man. I'm getting all of them. You ain't got to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? Because I do my job. And I'm like, man, why is he telling me this? He talking to me like I already got the job or something. I'm like, what job is that? And, he like, yeah, I'm getting all of them, man. He said a book right there, and they can't even follow that. You know what I'm saying? That carpenter dude, he left them a good book, and they can't even follow that. So I'm like, got it. But why are you talking to me like I got the job or something? You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here just like, what the heck? You know what I'm saying? Why y'all talking to me? So right after that, I see the tiger with the 3 claws on each foot and with the scorpion tail walk by, didn't say nothing, and so I look, and the whole time Satan is on the other end, he like this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, got it. He ain't said a word. He just looking, analyzing. I'm like, got it, So I turned back to my right, and the demon that told me he wanted to torture me a long time ago, and that just said I'm a great adversary. He's like, look, Mark, I'm, what I'm saying, I'm number 2 next to Satan over all the torture in hell. You know what I'm saying? I'm number 2 next to him. And I told you, you're a great adversary, and we like what you're doing, but you're doing it for the wrong side. You know what I'm saying? You doing your thing, and we like it. We like what you're doing, but you on the wrong side. So I'm like, I hear what you're saying, But I ain't trying to hear nothing you gotta say. Cause, you know what I'm saying, I turn my head and I look out for a second, and then he tried to pull a knife on me. Tried to stab me right there. I said, man, see that right there? I said, man, you just tried to kill me, man. You know what I'm saying? Tried to stab me up my throat or something, my neck or whatever you trying to do. He said, how I'm supposed to trust you? He said, see, you on your P's and Q's, man. That's what, you know what I'm saying, we like about you. And I'm like, okay, got it. So all of a sudden, I'm looking at all the potholes and I'm about to ask a question, like, what's up with the potholes? You know, full of lava and whatnot down there. So I look out the big window that's, you know, in the room, and all of a sudden this woman flies up out of the uh pothole full of lava, and her arms out, she's hollering and screaming, and you know, she wants to get out. She's trying to climb out of the hole or whatever. And all of a sudden, he like, shoot, I got to go handle this. So as he gets up and fly, I get up and fly out of my seat. And me and him like became as one. And he went right over the woman. And as she was trying to get out, you know what I'm saying, like push herself up with both her hands, all of a sudden he was just pounding on her, you know what I'm saying, just punching her back down in the hole, just punching her down back in the hole. And he was like, you feel that? You feel that? I know you like that. You feel that? Just punching her right back in the lava. I couldn't feel none of the lava, anything like that, but he's just punching her back down. You know, that's like ruthless blows, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, shoot, she getting the business right now, you know what I'm saying? But he punching her down back in there. Then all of a sudden, I fly back into my seat. And I'm sitting at the end of the table of the 72 demons that run hell. So then all of a sudden the elephant demon with the anime eyes tilt his head like he might be able to lead us. And everybody else, and you know, the images at the other seats, they're just moving or whatever. And so I turn back and I'm like, man, this is wild. You know what I'm saying? I must be up in like, you know, the skybox seat or something that's up in hell, because I ain't hardly ever seen no mess like this. So as I turn to, you know, to the left or whatever, I feel like it's my time to leave. So as I'm sitting in the chair, I rise up out of there and I'm seeing bright light, and the Lord's like, hey, Mark, I told you I never leave you. I never forsake you. I'm going to raise you up. And as I'm hearing this from the Lord, and I'm like, okay, Lord, you know, I hear what you're saying. And me, you know, I think multiple different ways, but I'm not unstable in my thinking. So I'm like, okay, Lord, you said you'll never leave me, never forsake me. I'm down here in this vision, and yet, you know what I'm saying, it's people in hell that going to hell every day because they don't want nothing to do with you. They don't want to have a heart for you. And they make excuses saying, God know their heart and stuff like this. But God knows a heart that changes for him. So they making excuses for these, you know, different things, doctrines of devils and stuff like that. And they falling for seducing spirits. And I'm like, you say that, and I'm down here, you're still with me. Now, when I'm with you, I'm in heaven, you there. In hell, you're there. When they look up and, you know, they see you walking by. So they remember everything. So I'm like, okay, Lord, I got it. I hear what you're saying, but this ain't my temperature down here. You know what I'm saying? This ain't my temperature down here. I'm trying to be in the temperature that you got in heaven, because I've seen the part of heaven that you showed me before, you know, being a prophet. He said, Mark, you are my prophet. You're going to say my words. And I'm like, Lord, but, you know, the things you have me to say is ruthless to people. And he's like, I don't care. I'm going to say it. My tongue is a sword. It's a double-edged sword. It cut going in, cut going out, and it cut through spirit, soul, and flesh. So I'm like, okay, Lord, I got it. I'm with it, you know. So as I'm rising up and the Lord is telling me this stuff, I look back down, and that demon, number 2, over all the torture in hell that's next to Satan. He said, Mark, I told you, you're a great adversary. And he was like, the offer is on the table. And I'm like, man, didn't I just tell you that I don't want that? I ain't with that. And he like, we're not going to stop till we get, the answer that we want. But as I'm leaving, his face turns into my face. He like, do you get the picture? Do you see what you can get? And I'm like, man, from everything I know, I'm like, man, Satan's a liar, man. You lying, dude. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking in my head. So I see my face looking back at me, smiling on the way out. So I get up and I'm back in my body, back in the flesh. And I get up and I'm breathing hard. I'm like, and I'm like, man, I ain't shared with nobody at that time, and stuff like that. And I didn't do it. And when I got to work and people know me, how my demeanor is and stuff like that, they're like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? It's like, Officer Mark, you know what I'm saying? Officer Jones, really? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, man, just come on, man. And they like, nah, man, your face I ain't never seen your face like this. And I'm like, yeah, because, man, I had an experience, and it really touched me. And I regurgitated the whole story. And I said, man, it's so easy. People need to get their lives right, man. They need to stop listening and looking at things and falling into it, because I would say I also seen it as I'm talking about it. The Lord showed me like another small vision, like the size of your dining room table from one end to the other end. He said if a person that wasn't living right started to walk on one end to the other end, before they even get to the middle of the table, they will fall into hell just that fast, for unforgiveness and no repentance and bitterness in the heart, hatred, racism, all these different things like that, homosexuality, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You will immediately fall into hell, and it's just like that, because God ain't playing, So that really touched me, and I wanted to share that with everybody. I do have other visions that the Lord showed me, and I know I'll get around to saying them and stuff like that. But I just felt as though I really need to share this, because I've been watching, other things happen, spiritually, physically, and the turnaround has been great as far as spreading the word. The fallow ground has been torn up so that the seeds can be planted. Me and my friend R. Jones, we share that word, you know what I'm saying? We do devotion. He do devotions pretty much every day. I get them, pass them out. He get them, pass them out. We do this through text message. I do it on Facebook, stuff like that. And, everybody that's on there, friend or whatever that want to receive it, and I say, hey, man, you want a devotion every day? They be done Monday through Friday. So I hit them in the morning, or I hit them in the evening, or in the evening at night. And so go from there. And that's just my story right there. I wanted to share that. And, man, people got to understand that Satan is real, and he's going to get pretty much everybody that you want to get. But I encourage you to see, change your life, man, for Jesus Christ, because he died for our sins. He took a lot, man. And I understand that it's repetitive and stuff like that, but you got to grasp it for yourself. If you don't get it for yourself, man, I don't know when you're going to get it, but hopefully it ain't too late. You ain't under strong delusion. And that word strong delusion is hard, because people fall into it. They get trapped into it. You know what I'm saying? You really gotta want to see it. You got to want to change. If you don't want to change, man, you ain't gonna never see nothing different. You're never gonna feel anything different. You're never gonna sense God's peace. You know what I'm saying? You can't give up on them. I mean, you might feel like you want to, but it's not worth it. Stay with it, and got a few sayings and different things like that, because I get asked a question, this question all the time from different people that changed their life around. Like, I had two guys that were, full-blown Muslims, and they was like, man, Jones, by your consistency and your speeches and speaking engagement and your ministering and different things like that, and I just felt God's presence, and I finally felt something I never felt. I had got peace, and I'm no longer Muslim no more. That's what the dude told me. And he was like, man, but why, when I leave that and I go be with God, why did everything get so hard? And I got a saying that that's gonna be coming out pretty soon on the shirt and all that. I said, man, you know what? You got a Christ problem. I said, Christ suffered, so we suffer for his name's sake. We store our treasures up in heaven. Through suffering, we learn more about him. And through suffering, that's how he purges us. You know what I'm saying? So I said, man, you got a Christ problem, man. I said, I'm glad to have a Christ problem, because it means so much. I want to read. I want to, apply his word. I don't want to just read it and then just hear somebody say it and do lip service. I apply the word. I want to apply the word. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. I want to hear it, but you got to have that heart to want to be like that. So, and to be humble. I tell people it took a long time for me to be humble, because most people know me. I mean, flying off a handle and all that, that's what it was. So, and I told the other guy, he was like, man, I ain't Muslim no more. Man, I gave that up. It wouldn't get me nowhere, stuff like that. And he's like, man, I'm dealing with so much. I'm trying to be right. I'm trying to treat people right. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. And I told him, I said, man, it's this thing. You got a Christ problem. And you know what I'm saying? The more you build your character up by following God's word, the more you're going to be tested. Testing trials come to make us strong. Iron sharpens iron. All that's in the Bible. So the more you go through the fire, like, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were thrown in the fire. You know what I'm saying? But God takes us to the potter's house, the true potter's house, and puts us through fire, you know what I'm saying, and purges us, like pure gold. So the more we go through that and accept it and embrace it, God will see, how much we love him and we want him to be here. And I'm grateful to have another chance every day. I ain't wake up paralyzed. I ain't wake up, have my body, paralyzed. I didn't wake up, anywhere, so that's my testimony, man. With that, my invitation to hell. I know it might sound crazy, but as a man of God, that's one thing that I went through.